Hey there. Welcome to Be Unmessablewith with the podcast. I'm Josselyne Herman-Saccio, your host, and today's turbo tip is about being the real deal. Most people, they spout things that they hear as if it's theirs, but it's clearly not theirs. It's kind of like someone who doesn't speak English singing karaoke songs that are in English. Like the words are there, but the world behind it isn't really there. So, how do you be somebody who embodies what you're creating versus mimicking or reciting what somebody else created? So, this is, something that when I used to train, or I still train leaders to facilitate courses, a lot of times when they started, they would read the manual, but it was very weak because they didn't have the body behind what they were saying. They weren't at the source of what they were saying, like they were the author of it. They were just reading words. And as they got more and more developed, those words became more and more authentic, and they started to be able to connect to it and relate to it. And then pretty soon it was at least at the level of somebody who not only memorized it, but had a bit of weight behind what they were saying. It was very rare that somebody got to be at the source of what they were saying as if they were the author of what they were saying. So, in my other career as a manager of actors, their careers, I like to liken this to being a great actor. Sir Anthony Hopkins, who I think is one of the greatest actors, and again, if you don't agree, put a comment down below and we can talk about our views about who's a great actor. But in any case, in my view, Anthony Hopkins is remarkable. And part of what has him be so remarkable is he's not just saying words, and he's not even just, really good at memorizing or, being the words. He is that character. He has gotten to the point where when he delivers a character, he's not delivering a character. He is the character himself. I could also say this about, Ben Kingsley in the movie Gandhi. Ben Kingsley didn't play Gandhi. He became Gandhi in that movie. And it is remarkable to see somebody who's a master at acting specifically embody the words as if they wrote them. So it's not that they're reciting or memorized or in any way mastered the material. They become the author of the material so that it's theirs. This is the same thing with people in your life. So if you look in your life, there is advice that you've gotten that you follow, and you know things to be good for you, so you do them, and you say, well, it's because, this happens with your metabolism when this happens, or, you've heard something about well-being, or you've heard something about leadership, or you've heard something about relationships, and then you recite it as if it's the truth, but it is a surface level of ownership of what you're saying in those categories where it is. I mean, there are some areas where you're the author of it, right? And that's really the opportunity. If you want to master life and really performance in life, you need to be at the source of not only what you're doing. So you're not just doing it because somebody told you to do it or somebody you respect advised you to do it. You're actually the author of what you're doing. It can start the other way. So it can start with you just doing it because somebody told you to and you're following directions. And then it gets deeper where you're the owner of what you're doing. And then the next level is you're the author of what you're doing. So you start as a replicator, you move to owner, and then you get to author if you're committed to mastery. And I am really committed to mastery in my life, like mastering the art of living. And, for me, the art of being unmessable with, which is about really shifting from reaction to creation. Many people, they react and then they look up, well, how do I not react? And they basically just put icing on mud, and they say, well, I'm going to think positive thoughts, or I'm going to reframe this, or get a different mindset. But I'm telling you, all of that is in the replicator, not even the owner. Some people get to ownership there, but if you really want to be the author of who you are in life and how you interact with people and circumstances, you need to move over to that space of creation. Anthony Hopkins or Ben Kingsley, they don't act from the world of reaction. They act from the world of creation. And if you are the creator, you have power, you have freedom, you have the ability to respond to what's happening and not get hooked. and not get thrown. And that is an opportunity that never ends, with every day. This is a mountain with no top. And, I really invite you to look in your life where you're being a replicator, like you're just doing stuff because it's good, or it's smart, or someone told you to. And then where are you the owner of what you're doing? Like you've made it a habit. So, you can definitely be counted on to do those things, as distinct from where are you the author. And let me know what you discover, and if you have questions, you can always email me at Joss, at theartofbeingunmessablewith.com. I would love to interact with you about this topic, to see what you're discovering for yourself, what you're bumping up against, what challenges you're discovering at looking at where you're the replicator, the owner, or the author. All right. See you on the next episode of Be Unmessable With, the podcast.
Thank you again for tuning in to this week's episode of Be Unmessable With, the podcast. And I never take for granted that you spend time with me. And I always want to make sure that you get value when you do. So I am including in the show notes a link for you for our Basics of Being Unmessable With workbook. It's a 12-page workbook that gives you all the basics of developing yourself to be unmessable with no matter what life throws at you, to be able to shift from the world of reaction to creation on a dime. And it'll give you a whole practice that you can implement in your daily life over and over and over again. So click on the link below and grab that 12-page workbook and let me know what you discover as you engage with it. Have a great week.